Hey, what's up, chosen fam? How we doing today? We got some coffee. If this is your first time seeing me, welcome to the Kimberly Bonse channel, where we discuss awesome things all the time and have coffee together in the morning and discuss, what is this life all about? What's it about? Oh, that hasn't been stirred yet. Oh well, it tastes fine. It's coffee. I'm grateful for it. It's good. It is Friday today, y'all. It's Friday. I hope y'all had a good week. Productive week. Hopefully, you got some really solid things coming up for you this weekend. Maybe you're gonna go fishing, or maybe you're gonna go crabbing, or shop at the mall, or spend time with family. But this is a moment that I would like to take to say good job for getting through the week and not losing your, just good job. You got through the week. And we're going to go over the second part of what we were discussing yesterday. And, Bible verses, and discuss a little bit more about, constantly being watched and, how that's part of being monitored. So what did we discuss yesterday? We discussed that there's 5 to 6 ways that the enemy has been known to attack, and that can be through noise, distraction, and disruption. That's kind of all in the first one. And then we have what do we have? We have addiction, and that's a big one. And I actually feel really good about not feeling like I need to go and get cannabis today. I feel really good. In my mind, I'm good. It just needs to be gone from my life because it doesn't help the way I think it helps. And so I'm really glad that I've been brutally honest with myself about, letting go of what doesn't serve me anymore. Because there's got to be something else I can do. Yeah, there for sure is. That helps me relax. That isn't a harmful habit. And so I'm just really, really pleased that I've been able to be brutally honest with myself about, really letting go what doesn't serve me. Even if it's kind of hard. So that's cool. And then 3, the ego. The ego, that's big. The ego is big. It's so big that it can confuse us as to what even is happening in the moment, because we think we're in control, but really it's we're puffing up our own chest so big that we can't even hear God's voice anymore. That type of ego, and it blinds us from God's instructions. And then we also have the 4th is a trigger. So the enemy can use a trigger. It could be a smell, a song, an article of clothing. It can be a memory. It can be even a word that brings you back. Whatever it is that kind of makes you feel emotionally unsettled all of a sudden again in the middle of your day, that is definitely a tactic by the enemy used to, make you lose your focus and put you in a high sensitivity state of mind, and then i.e. the spirit of offense, and it just goes downhill right there. So that's why we got to be doing the work ourselves. I made a video about this a week ago or something, about how much more prepared we are if we know what our my dyslexia. We are so much more prepared if we know what our weakest link is, before we go out into the world or do anything. Just knowing for ourselves, okay, what is my ish today? Because we wake up, we're the same person, but we're also literally different every day in terms of our temperance and our tolerance. It's just how it goes. It's our vessel, and we have 7 days. You're gonna have three out of those 7 days where you're just not feeling super hot, super your best, but you're gonna have at least 2 to 1 day out of there that you're on fire, and that's awesome. So it's you'll always know your strengths and what you can offer, if you know what your weakest link is in and of yourself. Okay, we'll leave it there. And then the 5th thing is okay, we also forgot, the 5th thing is ridicule and criticism. So that will be others kind of coming at you throwing shade, throwing hate. You know, it's like so run of the mill. Like, it's like I'm immune to it at this point, that type of thing. It fuels me, and that's something I encourage y'all to consider too, is that, like, let it fuel you. Let it fuel you. Let it be jet fuel to your project, to your destiny. Let the haters, you know, say what they want, and then give them a show, because that's what they're watching for anyway. Give them a show. They watching? Cool. Let them watch. Let them watch. Give them a show. Give them a show, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just go out there and do what it is that you love to do, and they'll have to sit back and continue to, you know, be the footstool. And the Lord will make your enemies your footstool, and so the Lord will prepare a banquet and a table, a feast, where your enemies have to watch that as well. And that's what's going to happen if you continue to persist in your pursuits of what you know you're called to do. So don't give up on it. Don't give up on it. Don't let them knock you down. And if they do knock you down, baby, just get back on up. Aight? Cool. So those are like 5 to 6 things that we discussed yesterday that are tactics of the enemy and the devil to be a transgression and to lead you into transgressions away from God. And these attacks will come even harder. Keep in mind, the longer you are a Christian, actually the harder it gets, because the more right that you're doing by God, the harder you will be attacked. So it's kind of like a little paradoxical frame that I think really hinders a lot of people from wanting to get close to God, because it can be scary. Like, it is. Every single time I try and quit weed, I have these horrible nightmares, like terrible, like sweat, like night sweats, wake up feeling agitated and cranky, but I just have to go through it. I'm just gonna have to go through it, and I'll be a better, stronger person for it. I will be. Will be good. Be good. We talked about monitoring too, right? That was the 6th thing. Monitoring is like, you know, how I know I started out with that yesterday as number 1 for me, because I know for a fact I have a lot of eyes on me, and it's not just in one point in the day. It's like all day, and then it's like literally wickedness happening even when I'm sleeping. So it's like, when you answer the call and you are going to, you know, say, yes, Jesus, I believe, and I will be a vessel for you, and it's not about me anymore. That is when you'll just like get like hit, like not like physically, like maybe, I don't know, like you'll just like go through the spiritual warfare, and it's intense. But it makes you like a stronger person, and God allows these attacks to happen so that we can become equipped and trained in the kingdom of lightness and work as a disciple for Him and as a child of God for Him. He will allow certain attacks. He will allow certain witchcraft to never prosper, because as we know, all of these attacks, they will never prosper. Some of the weapons may form, but they will never prosper against you. It's like, it's really bright. I'm like, hey, what's up, Jesus? But it's cool. I think I can manage. It's really bright. It's all good. I just feel loved. Actually, a little bit of sunlight is like so beneficial. Oh man, are we gonna get sun today? Yes, bring the sun and take the sad, dreary rain away. It's been like that all week. Dang. So I bring up the monitoring because it's like, I do feel led to expose the enemy, and I've been dealing with a lot of eyes on me for over 2 years now, or longer than that, but I've become aware of it for the last little bit. But it's to the point where it's like when as soon as I sit down to start to focus, like I'll have like the phone will start to ring, and it's like all at these like uncanny times. It's like right as I started to focus, and so it's just like obvious at this point that I am being constantly monitored. Or like I come home and the door is like just opening in front of me. I'm like, oh, like how did you? And then my roommate's like, oh, like here, I just like happen to like know, like if there's all these like things of like timing, and it's just like too uncanny for people to like, for it to be a coincidence. After like a pattern of a year of this happening, of like hearing men go psst, psst, in their cars following me when I go to get coffee in the morning, and then men following me into the laundromat and like preying on me and like just standing by me and then like watching me like fold my panties. And that's why I do laundry at home now in the bathtub, and like I just wash my own clothing. And then like men standing too close to me on the subway and like making like weird little sexual, you know how men are just like sexual animals, so like making me feel very uncomfortable constantly when I'm going to get my breakfast at the Golden Crust, like men touching my shoulder and saying, hey, do you remember me? And I'm like, and then I'm like going to, let's see, the grocery store, and the men at the front of the like the little booth, like right in front of like the lobby, like the concierge customer service, always say hi, and there's nothing wrong with that, but then they like try and like touch me, and like it's just like, and I just like started ignoring them, and then after a while like I was like hi, hope everything's well, and like trying to like be like very like professional and friendly, and just like hope everything's well, and like I'm not even giving eye contact, I'm just like hope everything's well, and like running out the door. And I realized like I shouldn't be uncomfortable to get my groceries, and I shouldn't be like followed around by some of the grocery clerks, and they come up and like, my friend, you don't talk to me no more. And I'm like, I'm coming to get my groceries. And I was like, I don't understand, what are you talking about? And then like constantly feeling obligated to respond to all of these compliments from men on the street. And damn, girl, ooh, where you headed, mama? Sup, mama? Looking good today, girl. Sup, baby sugar? What's up, honey buttercup? It's like after like, you know, 13, 15 years of this treatment, I have started to accept that this is their problem, and I'm impervious like to harassment because I'm strong enough at the point where I've gone through so much. It's like this is making me a stronger person, and I don't even like, it's like literally roll off my back now, and like dink, like I just like have this like armor on my body, so like any little criticism, anyone trying to like glare, like any of that, it's just like dink, and then like I just like keep going along like a happy little golden retriever, like my tail's wagging, and I just like, nobody can bring me down. And it's really something that pisses a lot of people off, especially close friends and family. They'll never admit it, but that's my strength, is my joy, and I sure am happy about that one. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of wickedness in this world, so just keep those positive vibrations up, you know, for anyone else that has to deal with like weirdness like this. Just know that it's really their problem, and pray for them, and pray for God to just help you keep and restore your joy and peace. And we're always protected. Like there will be there will be weapons that form, so like that's like part of like when you go out and you experience a little bit of that, it's like forming because they're trying, because you're literally like this like bright gorgeous light on a hill that cannot be hidden. And even those who light like a lantern, they don't light it and then put it underneath the table, they put it on top of the table, so everyone in the household is filled with that light. And that's kind of like what you is going out into the world, like you're such a bright light. If you're finding this video, that's why you're finding this video, it's because it's for that reason. You were led to this video and it found you because this is like you're a bright light in that way. And it's like something to keep in mind, that it's the dark and wickedness that's attracted to that light, like a little firefly light, and the darkness, and it's like buzzing, and people want to capture it and put it in a lantern because it's just so beautiful. And so that's why also you probably dealt with a lot of narcs and a lot of narcissists and a lot of control, people trying to always control you, and then they feel entitled to your reaction if you're not bothered by their attempt to gaslight you and get you out of character. So there's you know, there's a lot, but we gotta recognize that these are all just manifestations of the enemy, And God is so much stronger than all of this. We have the word of life to refer to when it began like this level of cray-cray. Okay, so we got 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. So if you've ever been going throughout this life and you think, why are there so many temptations and why are there so many seemingly, abundant opportunities to be led into transgression? Like, what is that exactly? Okay, well, have faith and take heart in knowing that Jesus was here, as well as a human for like 30 years plus. And then he was like going through the desert after 40 years of fasting, and Satan came to him, and Jesus was getting a bit hungry. And Satan came to him and said, well, if you're the Son of God, you can do anything. So why don't, if you're so hungry and you're the Son of God, let's see you turn some of these stones into loaves of bread. And of course, Jesus did not give in to the temptation, and he said, get away, Satan. It is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and only him shall you serve. And that's Deuteronomy 6:13/10:20. I'll double check it, but that is what he said in response to that. I do believe it is Deuteronomy 6:13. And so then this is such a, I love this because it is such a strong and powerful way to understand how we can endure the temptation, but we also don't have to give into it. And so that's what we have to see, is that God offers legitimate precedent examples of how he was able to maneuver and navigate away from sin. And he saw the devil was here, and he flee from the devil, and he resist the devil and he will flee. And so that's exactly what he uses, the word of God to make the devil flee. And that's so powerful. And anytime you do that, your enemies will scatter. That's how powerful the word of God is, and saying, in Jesus' mighty name, I rebuke any satanic attempts or attacks on my mind in this moment. In Jesus' mighty name. Boom. Scattered. Gone. That's how powerful Jesus is. And I just want to drill that home. Okay. Matthew 4:1-11. One does not live on bread. And this is also what Jesus said too. One does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes forth from the mouth of God. So see how he was saying, I don't need food. No. You see, on every word that comes from the mouth of God, this is literally what I'm doing right now. I'm fasting for this purpose, and I don't need to turn these stones into bread. And get away, Satan. Get away, Satan. It is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and only him shall you serve. So we can fight temptation with the word of God, and we can fight temptation by looking at how God led the example himself. It's using the word of God as a way to a rebuttal against what Satan's coming against him with and trying to tempt him. When Jesus is 40 days after, in the wilderness and in the desert, probably, exhausted, tired, hungry, I know if I fasted for a week and I was dying. I think the longest I've ever fasted was 2 weeks, and it was crazy, supernatural craziness. I was able to do it. 40 days is another level though, so just imagine how hungry Jesus and how exhausted he must have been. And he still uses the word of God and praises God and resists Satan in that moment. So that's something we can always refer to, no matter how much of a temptation we're being faced with, whether it's on a silver platter right in front of you and it looks good. Here, take it. It'll help. It'll help. It'll do this for you. It'll do this for you. Then in your heart of hearts, though, that's not what is good. It's a sin, but it's right there on a silver platter. Just take it. No, we gotta resist and say, get away, Satan. It is written, you shall worship in the Lord your God and only serve him, and only him shall you serve. Yes. Then we also, I think we're just about finished here. So Romans 13:1-14. This is the last. We have 2 more verses, and then we'll close out for the vid for the day. And I want to appreciate and say thank you for everyone being here. Romans 13, 1 through 14. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval. For he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. Yeah, the sword in vain. Oof. For he is the servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore, one must be in subjection, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. So, this one is speaking to me so strongly, and it's very positive. I just spit onto the camera. It's fine. Oh man, doesn't that one say it all, you guys? Romans 13, 1 through 14. So it's saying, you know that if you do good, you will receive back that energy in some type of form or matter. If it's love, if it's a good deed, if it's a donation to a charity, etc. That's good, that's good. That's good. That's good. If you do bad and you know it's bad, as we saw in the verse yesterday, so whoever knows the right thing to do, James 4:17. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. And then we see again in Romans 13:14, the authorities resist what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad conduct. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval, for he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. That also makes me think of the other verse that God applies. God sees everything, and he judges accordingly without... Oh, that verse is coming to mind so strongly right now. Without objection, Ooh, that's a good verse. It's coming to mind right now. But it's okay. I don't need to remember it in this moment. It's basically saying that, God applies his fastidious judicial sense of justice as he sees fit. In every situation, there is no this person gets a little they've done mostly good and they kind of did bad here, so God, no, it's God will literally, he does not bear the sword in vain. So you can't expect to be exempt from a couple of sins just because you've done mostly good deeds your life. A sin is a sin is a sin is a sin, and that's a transgression away from God. And if God disciplines you, you are one of his. If God disciplines you, he loves you. He's trying to make you better. So don't be afraid of the judgment. Just, have a wise fear of the Lord, yes, but don't live your life in what if I do something wrong and I lose everything good? It's just be aware that you want to be the best you can be for your own conscience, yes. Therefore, one must be in subjection and submit to the Lord in that way as a servant to God, and do good as a good servant for him, not just to avoid God's wrath. Definitely don't want to find yourself in the middle of that. But also for the sake of your own conscience. Be a good person so you can know at the end of the day, when your head hits the pillow, you did right by everyone you came across today. And you can fall asleep knowing, yeah, I'm solid, I'm doing right by God, and he's got me. And it's such a better way to live. I think that's the point. We'll end with Matthew 7:16. You will know them by their fruit. Okay, so this is as a way to know who in your life is helping or who is not helping. And God lets us know that in these times too, if there are people that are being worked through from the enemy is working through them, we will know by their fruit. So what does that mean? By their fruit? Kimberly, what'd you talk about, girl? Okay. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bear forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. You will know them by their fruit, Matthew 7:16. And this is just, a really solid way to understand that if you're doing good, you will reap good. And that's what the tree is saying too. Like, a good tree cannot bear evil fruit. It just doesn't work that way. If it's good on the inside, it's going to be beautiful on the outside. If it has good intentions, it will pursue with righteous actions, and vice versa with evil and bad. Evil actions and then bad consequences, because the Lord does not bear the sword in vain. That verse is coming to me so strongly. It's because it would fit perfectly with what we're talking about right now. The Lord applies the law without, goodness. I believe it's Proverbs. Matthew, Proverbs. I believe it's Proverbs. Lord does not. Please, Jesus, help me find this right now. He applies the law without that. I'm trying to think of one word right now, and it's driving me nuts. It'll come to me. We'll talk about it again in another video. I'm letting it go. So the last verse that we will discuss is the way to be able to know what is good for me, what's not, because as we know in this life that we're in right now, there's a lot of deception and a lot of wool over the eyes, a lot of sheep's in wolf clothing, or wolves in sheep clothing, and there's just deception, and that is why we always need to pray for the spirit of discernment in this time too. But a good verse to refer to in these moments, I'll leave you with this: Thessalonians 5:21. But test everything, hold fast what is good. And so that's just a way to know that we can test everything, and we can come to God and say, like, is this legit? Is this what you want me? Is this a good fruit? Is this someone you want me around? Is this a job offer you want me to take? Is this even the type of music you want me listening to? But test everything and hold to what is good. So there's many ways that we can be led into transgression. Little review snapshot of this video: distractions, noise, disruption. The enemy will use those things to lead you away from God. The enemy will use your own ego to lead you away from God and to blind you from his instructions when he's trying to talk to you. The enemy will use ridicule and criticism from others. We will work through others, close family, friends, and family members and friends. And then fourth, we also have addiction. That's a big one. God will use that to keep you an enemy of your own mind if you don't have that quote-unquote substance, and then you end up, your finances end up getting hurt because the substance. And addiction can be very isolating. It can be personality altering. It takes lives. It's really sad. And then we also have what were some of the other ones that we got? I know we got a couple of ones. We got trigger and monitoring. That's right. So the fifth and sixth, the enemy will try and trigger you or set things up in your environment to get you to go back to something that was not good for you. And then monitoring. So they need information, and that's a constant way to keep you feeling oppressed and make you feel almost borderline paranoid, because you're like, you never get that privacy. But don't have any fear, because God is monitoring them, monitoring you. There's nothing to be afraid of. And God will only put you in situations that he knows you can endure. And he offers so many beautiful examples in stories and in Bible verses of how we can overcome these temptations and overcome these wicked schemes and plots from the enemy. And just know that he loves you more than any of us could ever imagine. And I really love you too, like a lot. And I really thank you for being here and hearing me out on ways that we can just be better and not fall into temptation, and how God can strengthen us each and every day through these attacks. So I love you guys. That's the vid. Have a fantastic weekend. Have like a really awesome weekend. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Stay chosen. See you at the top.